This is a stimulus check update and daily news report. Got a lot of important topics to cover in this video. We'll talk about the latest of what's going on with a fourth stimulus check, the biggest increase for Social Security recipients, which are the latest cities participating in the $500 per month guaranteed income program. We'll talk about student loan forgiveness and how President Biden is forgiven $4.5 billion to student loan borrowers, how AOC slams Manchin again and tears him apart, calling him out for being paid off by the pharmaceutical and big oil industries. Then I'll answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'll give you the stimulus check info up front. This is the latest fourth stimulus check article. Fourth stimulus check, here's who's proposing it and why not everyone will get it. So this is referring to the senior citizen fourth $1,400 stimulus check. It's getting a new article every single day, and when it comes to a fourth stimulus check, it's not in that $3.5 trillion package, and at the moment it looks like a lot of proposals are actually being taken out of that big package compared to being put in. But since it has been delayed and there's a new deadline of October 31st, there's been a lot more promotion of this fourth stimulus check for senior citizens. I'll keep you updated on what happens with that. When it comes to Social Security, next year's Social Security checks could get biggest COLA bump in 13 years, so it could be up to 6.1%. And last year of 2020, October 13th, is when they announced the COLA adjustment, what that cost of living adjustment is going to come out to. So we're at October 10th, so it looks like any day now we should get that announcement of how much the COLA is going to be. I'll keep you updated on that. When it comes to different cities that are offering the guaranteed income program, so Pomona, which is in California, may add $400,000 to proposed guaranteed income program. So this is a smaller city. They're giving $500 monthly checks to 250 households with one child or more. Another program, I'll give you just a little roundup of which are the latest cities doing the universal basic income, guaranteed income. This is part of the mayors for guaranteed income. I'll go over that in a moment. But universal basic income in Phoenix, council approves monthly checks for 1,000 families. So it's going to be 1,000 families. They're going to get $1,000 for 12 months. So that's 1,000 families, each going to get $1,000 for the next 12 months. Then there's also Shreveport City, Louisiana Council supports privately funded guaranteed income pilot program. So this one is going to give 100 households $600 per month in the city starting in December. So that's just a couple of months away. And then another city, or actually, sorry, those are all the latest cities at the moment. And as I mentioned before, this is the guaranteed income program where a lot of mayors, over 50 mayors across the country, are giving their cities guaranteed income, either $500, $600, or up to $1,000 per month. As I mentioned, those recent cities. If you see your city on here, there's a good chance that they're either in the process of starting the program or maybe it already started giving $500 to $1,000 per month. I'll keep you updated on this as new cities come out. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you agree with universal basic income and guaranteed income for cities? Should it be more than $500 per month? Should it be longer than 1 year? Should it go on for several years? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Also, food prices continue to rise across the United States, which is one of the reasons why they want to have more, or some people are calling for more stimulus checks, why they want to have guaranteed income for certain places to get people out of poverty. Let me know down in the comments below. Have more grocery stores, the price has gone up? Also, there's been supply chain issues too, with a lot of stores where shelves are starting to be empty. People are going in panic buying mode. Let me know down in the comments as well. Have you seen that in your area? Shelves starting to be empty, no milk, no eggs, no toilet paper again, bottled water. Let me know your thoughts on all that down in the comments below. I know some towns and cities are getting hit really hard with that. When it comes to unemployment, so this article right here says Biden gambled that cutting off federal jobless aid would drive people back to work. The September jobs report blew a hole through that idea. So the September jobs report wasn't too good, came out a couple of days ago. The number of jobs added in September came in at a paltry 194,000, far below economists' expectations. It was the first jobs report to capture the widespread impact of federal unemployment ending early. To remind you, it was September 6th that the federal unemployment ended for about, I think it was 24, 25 states, because at that point, half the states canceled it anyway from Republican governed states, with one Democrat governed state as an exception. But Yeah, so they're saying that, well, according to this article, they're saying that that may be the cause for the lack of jobs being added. The White House's gambit to get people back to work by ending federal jobless aid blew up in its face. But let me know down in the comments below. I feel like there might be more variables compared to just the jobless aid. There's a lot going on in the world, but let me know down in the comments below. Do you think that $300 per week boost should have kept going? Do you think that's the reason for the lack of jobs in September? Let me know your thoughts on that. In terms of unemployment, or at least federal unemployment coming back, doesn't look likely. So Biden's labor secretary says the U.S. doesn't need new employment benefits because we're headed in the right direction. So this is coming from Biden's administration. So it says here, losing federal unemployment benefits on Labor Day did not drive people back to work. Even so, Labor Secretary Marty Walsh says enhanced benefits don't need to come back. So yeah, let me know, what do you think? Should enhanced benefits come back? Should it not come back? What he said here is, over the last 4 months, I've been answering questions about $300 keeping people out of the workforce. 26 states ended it early. We saw no data that showed that by ending early unemployment benefits, there was higher participation in the workforce. Basically saying the two were not related. He then said, we're headed in the right direction. The unemployment benefit was there because in the beginning, tens of millions of Americans were out of work overnight. So yeah, that's where they stand right now on unemployment. Most likely not going to be in that next week package, and there hasn't been any talk of adding unemployment besides a few progressive Democrats here and there. Speaking of progressive Democrats, so Representative Ilhan Omar, AOC, among a few other progressive Democrats, asked Biden to release a memo detailing his power to cancel student loan debt. So this came out, I think, a day or two ago. I mentioned this. They're giving President Biden an October 22nd deadline to say, hey, you said you were going to ask the Secretary of Education what's going on with student loan forgiveness, with the president having the power to cancel it through executive order. Is it a yes or a no? So that type of answer coming from the education secretary probably came immediately. And I have a hunch that President Biden might be able to do it through executive order. If he wasn't able to, he would have just came out and said, hey, President does not have the ability to cancel student loans through executive order, and it's going to have to be done through Congress. Instead, he was silent on the issue because if he announced it, he probably would have done it, and if he wanted to do it. He campaigned on the promise of $10,000 for federal student loans, hasn't mentioned that since. And there's been no word of it. You would think that through executive order, he could just sign a piece of paper and get it over with. Instead, it's been a long, drawn-out process. Especially if you've been watching the videos, a lot of back and forth. But let me know down in the comments below. Do you think Biden has that power to do so? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Hopefully, we'll find out yes or no by October 22nd. Also, Biden is moving to cancel $4.5 billion in student loan debt. Who gets new relief? So this video clip explains exactly who gets the federal student loans forgiven and where to find out more information. Here's that video clip right now.
The Department of Education announcing today a major overhaul in the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. It's said to make it easier for service members and teachers, nurses, and other public workers to qualify for debt relief. The government estimates this will bring more than 500,000 borrowers closer to loan forgiveness and eliminate about $4 billion in student debt in America. CNBC's personal finance correspondent Sharon Epperson is with us now. Sharon, how's this going to work?
Well, in this program, Shep, about 1/4 of American workers are already employed in public service, and many of them could be eligible for student loan forgiveness. The Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program began and became law in 2007. It was designed to allow nonprofit and government employees to have their federal student loans canceled after 10 years of public service and after making 120 monthly payments to a qualifying repayment plan. The problem is, many people who thought they qualified and had been paying back their loans for years expected that in a decade that debt would be canceled, but it was not. Once they apply for relief, many borrowers find out they don't qualify, usually because of a technical reason. Maybe it's the type of federal loans they have or the repayment plan they're enrolled in. But now that has changed. Today, the U.S. Department of Education announced that there will be a limited waiver so that borrowers can count payments from all federal loan programs or repayment plans toward forgiveness. So this includes certain loans and payment plans that were not eligible before. The government's also going to automate the eligibility process, review rejected requests, and give borrowers a way to get errors corrected, and also make it easier for members of the military to get credit toward forgiveness while they serve. Shep.
Sharon, how did this get so screwed up in the first place? And what are borrowers who may be confused supposed to do now?
Yeah, it's been a big problem, and consumer advocates and financial experts say that there have been a lot of discrepancies in borrowers' payment accounts. Lawmakers have been accused of making the program too complicated in order to just reduce costs. And the sole student loan servicer responsible for processing payments has also been cited for contributing to all of these problems. There are also some borrowers who frankly didn't pay close attention to the details of this complicated program. So now borrowers need to take advantage of these new changes, and they need to make sure that the Federal Student Aid Office has their accurate contact information. Go to studentaid.gov to register for an FSA ID and to make any updates or any changes to your contact information.
Studentaid.gov. Sharon, got it.
So it seems that the government tried to screw over some people who worked 10 years in public service. Then when they thought that they were able to be eligible for the student loan forgiveness, somehow there was a technical difficulty or something like that. And I'm glad that they fixed that loophole. But let me know, are you going to benefit from that? Let me know down in the comments below. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez slams Joe Manchin's demands to cut working family policies from final spending bill. So these two kind of go head to head, both part of the Democratic Party. One, AOC all the way on the left, Manchin all as far right as possible for being a Democrat, and they're constantly butting heads this whole time. So AOC slammed Joe Manchin's demands to cut working family policies from Biden's spending bill. She said a tweet, I'll go over that tweet in a moment, but Joe Manchin has said that he doesn't want to have all three family policies in there. So it's like childcare, maternity leave, and then one other thing, I'll go over that in a moment, but he wants to say pick one and not the rest, and AOC, not too happy about that, actually calls him out on it. So this is AOC's tweet in response to that. So she says, yes, the conservative Democrat position. You can either feed your kid, recover from your C-section, or have childcare so you can go to work, but not all three. All three makes you entitled and lazy, but fossil fuel money, keeping prescription drug prices high, and not taxing Wall Street are non-negotiable. Ouch, that last line really calls him out, because Joe Manchin has been known to not decrease the price of drugs, not wanting to do alternative energy, and all the things she basically said, calling him out on that, most likely because he's being paid off by lobbyists from those industries. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Do you think that these family policies should be in this $3.5 trillion package coming up? Are these good policies? Not? Do you think AOC is right on this? Joe Manchin? Let me know your thoughts on all that down in the comments below. Also, AOC is not the only one railing against Joe Manchin. So war of words heats up between Sanders and Senate moderates in budget fight. And then also, Bernie Sanders isn't holding back anymore, accusing Sinema and Manchin of selling out Biden's agenda to big pharma. So, yeah, Bernie Sanders basically calling out Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, saying that they're being paid off by big pharma, that they want to keep the drug prices high, basically because lobbyists from the pharmaceutical industry will go up to them and say, hey, here's several tens of thousands, if not more, towards your campaign contributions so you could stay in office. That's kind of how Congress works, and basically they're getting called out on that. So what Bernie Sanders recently said is, take a hard look at those people who are opposed to strong legislation to lower the cost of prescription drugs, and take a look at their campaign finance reports. See where they get their money, how many of them get their money from the pharmaceutical industry and the executives there, and I think there will be a direct correlation. He's actually right on that, not just with the pharmaceutical industry, but all industries. That's unfortunately how Congress works. Let me know your thoughts on all of that down in the comments below. Next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Tyrell Danes asks, where is the president executive orders? Yeah, so I think if the president had the power for the executive orders, he probably would have taken action on that. Denise asks, for them, what's a deadline? So October 22nd is the deadline for that student loan forgiveness to see if it could happen or not. There's no leverage for that deadline. If Biden doesn't answer before October 22nd, nothing happens. It's just, they're just saying that as a deadline. So yeah, Congress and deadlines don't really make much sense. Maddie B, can you guys just bring back PUA? Sheesh, no jobs, gig worker here. Yeah, a lot of people are struggling. Some people are getting jobs, some people are not. It all depends on the city, and there's so many variables. I think probably unemployment could help out a lot of people. Next question comes from Patricia Mendenhall. Love, love, love Bella. Thanks for that. I'll definitely tell Bella. Appreciate that. What is the provision for new home buyers and how do we apply? So at the moment, there is no home buyer credit. They were trying to get that into this next big package, but hasn't made it in there. There is still time for things to go in and things to be taken out. I'll keep you updated on that. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your support.